Hey everyone, it's Paul, and in today's lesson I'm going to talk to you about goal setting, okay, and it's what I know as something called outcomes, okay. When I did my NLP course, we spent a lot of time on outcomes, and I contribute this to what really turned things around for me, because this kind of underpins everything you need to learn along the way. You're probably going to discover in this session, okay, as from doing this session, I should say, okay, and having a clear, well-defined outcome, vision, goal, whatever you want to call it, is what's going to help, okay. Now, let's just talk about why people kind of miss sometimes, okay. One of the reasons they miss is that I get people tell me that they're going to be rich. And I go, cool, how much money is that? And they go, well, I don't know. So you can't hit a target if you don't know what it is. So I'm going to encourage you, as we work through a list that I'm going to give you, I'm going to encourage you to think specifically what it is you want. You know, if you're going to make $10,000 a month, why is it 10,000? Why have you picked that figure? What does that actually mean to you? What does it mean if you don't get it? Okay, so if you haven't got a pen and paper, pause this video now and go and get one. Okay, I'm going to assume you got a pen and paper, because we're going to go through each step of the process. So first of all, let's start with that. Okay, as you develop in your goal, I want you to think, as we go through, what happens if you get it? Why do you want it? And what would it mean if you didn't get it? Okay, so think that as you go. Okay, so let's start with the first one. The first one is positive. Okay, it has to be positive. When you set your outcome, and by the way, I'm going to have to be kind of brief on this. I think we spent 2 days learning all this, going through all the questions and various exercises, and you should take a bit of thinking time with this. Okay, so I'm going to go through this list. I want you to write these things down, okay? Don't try and answer them all now while you're watching this. Go away and have a bit of a think, okay? And then maybe I'll do a more advanced training as a product or something later on, okay? But first of all, positive, write that down. It has to be positive. I want to stop smoking is negative, because you're focusing on the smoking, okay? I don't want to be broke. It's terrible. You're focusing on being broke. I want to make $10,000 a month is much better. Okay, it's positive. Okay, so the first thing is you have to state it in the positive. The second thing is it has to be instigatable by you. Okay, it's a weird way of saying it, but it's how I remember it. I have it in an order. So it has to be something you can instigate. So there's no point having an outcome, a vision, a goal that you've got your people are, your team are producing for you while you sit back and do nothing, because you can't control your team. Okay, you can only control what you do. You might be able to influence them, but you can't control them. Okay, so it's always better to do things that are actually in your control. Okay, is it something you can do? Now, in the case I've just given of, team members producing, it might be that you get your numbers and you find an average that out of every 10 people you recruit, one of them will do what you want, okay? So then it is in your control, because, if you want 10 people bringing in a certain amount, you might need to go and bring 100 people in. And then to bring 100 people in, you might need to speak to 1,000 people. And once you know your numbers, you can kind of hit that. But the point is that you are in control of going out reaching 1,000 people. You can't rely on other people to do anything for you. Okay. One woman on the NLP course said that her outcome was for her husband to get more exercise because she was worried about his health. It's impossible. He has to want to do it. You can't control other people. So, okay, it has to be instigatable by you. What context is it in? Who are you doing it with? Where are you doing it? Okay, when are you doing it? Okay, so most of you watching this, I'm sure, have got a vision of building a big business. Okay, so where do you work from? Okay, is your partner at home, or is your partner going out to work? Do you have dog? Do you have a pet dog? Is the dog with you in the office? What computer are you using? Okay, who, what, where, why, when? What context is this in? Okay. The next one is sensory based. Okay, so now you're starting to see where we're starting to build up the vision. So it might be that you might write, ultimately, when we've been through everything and you've got a grasp of this, you might write up, you know, I am sitting in my home office with my beautiful carved walnut desk and I feel the breeze coming through the window on a beautiful sunny day as the sun streams in into my room. I can feel the comfortable office chair as I sink into it and check my sales overnight to see that I've made however much it is you want to make. But you get the idea. The sensory based is what speaks to your brain. That's our brain works with the five senses. Okay, so you've got visual, auditory, feeling. Okay, also what we call kinesthetic. Okay, so feeling both in terms of internal feeling, like I feel sad today, I feel happy today, and external feeling, as in this is hot, this is cold, this is smooth, this is rough. Okay, and then you've also got smell and taste. That is how we take things in, okay? So then that is how our brain uses those combinations of things to represent, or rather represent, okay? Represent things to us. So if we want to present to ourselves the vision, it makes sense that we talk in all five senses. We want to see it, we want to hear it, we want to feel it, we want to taste it and smell it if it's appropriate to. Now, in the case of me, I wanted to come and live in Cornwall so I could smell the sea air, I could taste the Cornish pasties, which is is it a delicacy? I don't know. For those of you in the UK, you know what a Cornish pasty is. Okay, lovely. Okay, it might be tasting the ice cream, you know, as I walk along after I've just made a sale. I celebrate going for an ice cream on the beach and I can smell the sea and the salt air. Okay, so sensory based. The next one is really, really important, okay? It wants to be sequenced in bite-sized chunks. So many people, Paul, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to make $10,000 a month. I'm going to make $100,000. I'm going to be a millionaire with this. Okay, and then they don't have a clear vision, so they don't know what they're doing, okay? But also, they don't know what steps to take to get to the million. They haven't broken it down in steps, okay? I break things down in steps, so I know what I'm doing, okay? And having achieved everything that was on my vision board, and we spoke about this in other days, in other trainings, okay, I'm building up these new visions and I'm breaking them down into small chunks. So I'm like working out what it is I want, big picture called chunking up. Now I'm chunking down into bite-sized chunks. Now, one of the great advantages of bite-sized chunks, let's supposing you can't accomplish your task in a year, every day you can know what you can do to get you closer to your goal. Okay, so it's a massive task. It's going to take you a long time to get there. If you don't have it broken down into small, manageable chunks, you can say, okay, I've got a couple of hours to work on my dream, work on my outcome, work on my goal. I can look at this and say what I need to do is, first thing is I need to build an offer page. I need to build the actual product. I need to write a report to give away as a freebie. I can start working on that. And again, I've got that as one of my steps. I can actually break that down into smaller chunks by breaking it down into chapters. Okay, so anytime I've got a bit of free time, I immediately just follow the next thing on my plan and I get stuff done. And you will be blown away by how much you can achieve by doing this. Next one is compelling. Okay, it has to be something compelling. Okay, let me give you an example. I'm working online to pay all my bills. I'm working online to pay my bills and be able to afford a luxury trip around the world. I'm working to pay my bills, but more importantly, I want to put my children through university, college. You know, I want to educate my children really well. That's more compelling. Okay. Again, if you make it sensory based, then it's something like a trip, travel. You know, you can really have fun with that. You can really have fun with that, guys, because the compelling nature of it is what pulls you through. Now, we all have to do things that aren't compelling. Okay. You know, building pages isn't always compelling. Writing email copy isn't always compelling, and, you know, and so on and so on. But what we do, you stick some music on to help you overcome that, okay? But ultimately, your big goal, your big vision, if it's not compelling, it ain't going to happen, okay? Because your brain doesn't want to do anything that isn't compelling, okay? Resources built in. Okay, you have to build in the resources. Now, the resources might be that I am talking to 10 people every day on Facebook. That, you know, if you need a computer, that's a resource as well. So a resource might be people, connections that you might need to make. It might be, you can't control them, remember, but you can probably make connections with them, okay? It might be a particular training that you're following. It might be a particular piece of software. It might be a particular, for me, it was NLP. You know, NLP was one of the, I didn't know it was called outcome models and things then, and I didn't do it right at all, and I failed for 13 years to get where I wanted to go, which is way too long to fail to do something you want to do in my book, okay? So, things started to chime into place. When I realised from reading self-development books that I wasn't where I wanted to be, I knew it had to be me. It had to be something with me because I've got the resources, I've got the training, same as everybody else. So what was missing? What resources wasn't I using? So I'd always been interested in NLP. One of the resources I did was get on an NLP course and invest a lot of money and time into it, okay? But it's really paid off. So it might be that, you know, as I sit in my home office, you know, I can feel the breeze on my cheek as the window's open because it's a beautiful day and the sun's streaming in. I check on my Apple iMac computer as I sink back into my leather chair to see how many sales I've made, and I'll decide I'll start my day by speaking to this resource. I will read this book. You know, I'm going to read 20 minutes of my self-development books this morning, okay, to increase my self-confidence, to increase my conscious awareness of what, you know, what I do, to have more self-control, to have more self-belief, okay? Might be that. It might be, you know, as I sit here, check my sales, you know, I know that I need to go and post in 20 groups today. Whatever it is that fits your goal, your outcome, you need to build that resource into the description, okay? Right, ecology and environment. So let's suppose I have my dream and I want to come and live in Cornwall, but my wife doesn't want to move to Cornwall. We've got a problem, okay? So you need to consider the whole of your environment, okay? Your ecology, your ecosystem, everything around you. So luckily my wife did want to come and live in Cornwall. It was a conscious dream. But then guess what? We have a son, okay? He's decided to stay back in Grantham, okay? It's 288 miles away. So how does that fit into our outcome? Well, it's fine because he didn't live with us anyway. So we can speak to him on the phone, we can Skype, we can video call, and obviously we will go and visit him and he will come and visit us. So that was fine. Also, my mother-in-law is still there. How is that going to affect my mother-in-law? Okay, she's no spring chicken. So what do we do there? You know, and so you have to consider all these things. And it's very easy to go down the route of just going, well, I want this, and here's my goal, and here's my vision, to then maybe find that it's not going to fit in. You know, and you have to consider these things. That doesn't mean to say you can't make it fit in, but you might decide to delay it. You might decide you need another resource after you go through this. Okay, so you can see what we're doing. We're really trying to cover all the bases. And the last one, it can be a little hard to explain to some people, but I'm sure you'll get it. Secondary gain, okay? If you don't know what a secondary gain is, it's when we do one action, okay, but with an intention that is maybe not what that action would indicate. Good example, I met somebody once and they were in a wheelchair and they kept apologising for this, that, the other. She was deaf in one ear, she was blind in one eye, and she had pain in her arm, a wheelchair. I'm sorry because I feel like I'm always getting in the way. And everybody rallies round and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, you know, are you okay? Can I get that for you? And she got a lot of positive intention, a lot of good attention. Now, I knew somebody else, okay, who had a bad leg, okay, and was always like, oh, my leg's hurting today, and, you know, oh, and everybody was like, I'm sorry to hear that. But anytime she was going out for an evening or whatever, she could run up and down stairs. It was so funny. Anytime it was like she had something to do, the leg didn't bother her, okay, and then it would be like, well, I've got to get out, and you'd almost be in her way. But then every other time was like, yeah, well, I'd like to talk about it, but I have this bad leg. That can be a secondary gain, guys. Okay, now obviously people have health issues. I'm not saying anybody's faking it or anything like that, but what I am saying is sometimes the secondary gain is to get the attention in that case. My secondary gain is I want to get people free from their jobs, because I absolutely hated being told by a grown man to me, another grown man, when I can eat my lunch. Just, I don't know if in a previous life I was a slave or something, but it just seems like you tell me when I can have my holiday, you tell me when I can eat my dinner, and I had quite a good job in a company, and they, used to check my whereabouts to make sure I was doing what I was meant to be doing. And do you know what, guys? Fair enough. It's a business. I understand that. Okay, I'm not knocking it. If you're in a business and you check up on where your guys are, you should. At the end of the day, if it's your company, you need to know what's going on. However, I just hated it. So secondary gain is I want to get people free from their jobs. Okay. That's one of my driving forces behind this, okay? And that's why I'm doing this training. You might just think it's so I can sell more stuff, okay? But I'm making it available to the team, to the whole team. It's not just for us. So hopefully you can see that that's where the secondary gain kicks in. Now, you may have a secondary gain you need to consider, okay? And what is your secondary gain? Really, it should be a primary gain, okay? It should be known as that. But if you have a secondary gain, most of us do, you have to kind of figure out, well, what is it? I'm saying I want all this money, but why is it I want the money? And I'm saying I want to help people, but why do I want to help all these people? Is it just to feel good? Is it to genuinely help them? So you need to consider what your secondary gain is and make sure that your outcome and how you write it up is in line with any secondary gain that you might have. So that's it. We've come to the end, guys. Okay. So it has to be positive, stated in the positive. I am a millionaire. Okay. Not I'm a million. I am out of. I do not want to be in debt anymore. Okay. So it has to be positive. Has to be something that is within your control. Something you can do. Has to be in context. Has to be sensory based. You want to sequence it in chunks. Okay. So every day you can do something that's going to move you closer to your goal. Has to be compelling, okay? Compelling in terms of I'm doing it so I can do this for my kids, or compelling because I can't stand failing. I can't stand how I'd feel myself if I don't make this work. Might be compelling, hopefully, for more positive reasons that, you're going to feel fantastic when you're on that cruise, when you're living in the house of your dreams, when you're being able to afford to pay off your house or whatever it is, needs to be something that's going to pull you. A vision pulls you, okay? It compels you to get out of bed in the morning, stay up late and get on with it, okay? Then resources, any resources you need, people, access to trainings, things that you have to do. Resources as well, by the way, guys, could be self-confidence, could be self-esteem, could be motivation, could be focus. I suffer with focus, lack of it. So it could be that, as I sit down to work, I am incredibly focused. That is a great example, actually, of a resource that you might need, okay? And I truly believe that I am making $1 million, yeah? Ecology, okay, your environment, make sure it fits in with everything you've got. One of the considerations for us is what do we do with our house at Grantham? You have to think about all these things. Do we sell it? Do we rent it out? What do we do? We have to think about all these things, okay? And secondary gain, if you've got a secondary gain, make sure that's covered with it as well. So there you go. I hope you found that useful. It really does cover a lot more than just, oh yeah, I'm going to set a goal of making $10,000 a month and I'm going to do it by this time next year. Okay, and that's what a lot of people do with a goal. It doesn't cover any of the other stuff, okay, that we've been through here. So hopefully that was of use, and I hope you're enjoying the training. See you on the next one.